Good evening. Today is Monday, September 27th, 2021, and the time is now 6:15, and I'm called to order this regular meeting of the Town Mead Board of Trustees. In accordance with the town's disaster declaration dated March 21, 2020, related to the COVID-19 virus and the town's emergency electronic participation policy for regular and special meetings, this meeting will be held virtually in Zoom. Virtual access information, including the Zoom meeting link, has been provided on the town's website and at designated posted places at least 24 hours prior to the meeting. I'd like to remind everyone present, both in person and virtually, of the town's general guidelines of public comment of open meetings. Copies of these guidelines are available in the back of the room here in the town hall and are also available online. Mary, roll calls, please.
Mayor Whitlow.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Here.
Trustee Babcock.
Here.
Trustee Broadhead.
Here.
Trustee Cartwright.
Here.
Trustee Fox. Trustee Harris.
Here.
Mayor Whitlow, today is Monday, September 27th, 2021, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you. Please join me in a moment of silence for those we have lost this week due to the coronavirus. Thank you for your time. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is review and approve agenda. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda as is?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as is.
Second. Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Broadhead.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion carries. We'll go on to our staff report by our town manager. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. You have my report. I would like to highlight a couple of numbers and dates, just so we can stick with numbers in my report. First of all, building permits, single-family building permits, we just hit 260. In the queue, if you add that to the 260, we're at about 304. I anticipate getting close to 350. So we're hitting our mark and exceeding it. I think that's really important to know. Then I'd also just kind of want to run through different dates that I mentioned in the report. First of all, October 2nd, this Saturday, is Coffee with the Mayor here at Town Hall. October 11th, the ballots go out in the mail, so we're getting really close to election season. October 15th and 16th are cleanup days. Just remember that, so that's Friday and Saturday. October 19th is the date that's been settled on for the joint broadband meeting. As you know, we're working with 3 other towns, and so Johnstown is gonna host that. It's gonna be at 6 p.m. You'll be getting an appointment sent to you by Mary. Please let me know how many of you will be attending. They will be providing dinner. And what you should be hoping to hear, they're gonna do a presentation, the consultants we've been working with, on different options for broadband. And then on October 28th, remember, is the Town and County Dinner. And I believe Mary has sent out an invitation for that. For any of you, it's primarily for elected officials. And they have that once a year. Last year we didn't because of COVID. So put that on your calendars. And other than that, I am here to answer any questions.
Chris?
What was the date of the broadband meeting again?
That's October 19th at 6 p.m. And the date, he's not sure if they're gonna have it at their new YMCA or they're gonna have it at Town Hall. Their town manager's working those details out, but I'll get that to you.
Okay. Booker, Deb, do you have anything for Helen? Tricia, do you have any comments or questions for Helen?
No.
David? David, do you have any questions for Helen or comments?
No.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it. Alright, we'll move on to our informational item, Public Works update. This will be presented by our town engineer, Public Works Director, Director Rankin.
Thank you, good evening. Amy's going to queue up my presentation here. Got a couple capital projects updates for you and a couple updates just on the status of some development projects. Alright, so the first is the 3rd Street Reconstruction project. As you know, it's a $2.1 million project. The scope of that includes some culvert replacements, not only at driveways, but also, storm sewer crossings like the one you see in this picture here. Our contractor, or rather our construction manager has a drone, so we've been fortunate enough to get some drone photos, which is pretty neat. Of course, curb and gutter and sidewalk on this section here from 34.5 up to the Highlands, and then reconstruction of the asphalt roadway from 34.5 all the way up to Willow Drive, which is just south of 38. Some of the challenges that we've been experiencing there, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about, is the access. Of course, we have 2 neighborhoods that this is the only access into the Highlands and Featheridge neighborhood. So trying to route all of those people through an active work zone is challenging, to say the least. We are experiencing some unstable subgrading in a couple of locations, so that means that material has to be removed and replaced with suitable material. It takes a little bit more time, costs a little bit more money, of course, but we want to do it right the first time. We have had a lot of utility conflicts as well. There's a lot of utilities in the roads that people didn't know were there, even the utilities didn't know they were there. So we've had to work around those quite extensively. So schedule-wise, they'll be pulverizing in the next 2 weeks in that northern section, north of 36, so there'll start to be some activity happening there. The concrete will also get started over the next 2 weeks for that curb gutter and sidewalk. And then paving right now is scheduled for mid-October, so as long as the weather holds out, we'll be paving here very soon. Lauren Mead Park at Highland Lake, that's a $640,000 project. And the scope there includes a $90,000 fishing use fund grant, and that's funding the construction of a fishing pier, which is under design right now. We do have a contractor there today that's doing the rest of the park improvements, excluding the pier, and that's for parking, sidewalks, a vault restroom, variety of fencing and seating. The challenges there, so far construction has been going very well. Unfortunately, we didn't get any bidders on the pier portion of the project, and so we had to do a little shuffling. We utilized our existing on-call engineer to do some design. We're hoping to just change order that into this contractor who's already working there, into their contract. And since we didn't have any bidders, that does follow our purchasing policy. We're allowed to do that. And then schedule-wise, they'll be starting the concrete here in mid-October for the parking lot and sidewalk areas. That restroom will come in early November. It's a long lead item, takes a long time to order that, unfortunately. So it's coming a little bit later. And then we'll build that pier over the winter months, probably early 2022 when that's done. Okay, next slide. And then finally, our public works facility, that's a $5 million project. That scope includes a $500,000 grant that we got from DOLA, from the Energy Impact Funds. That's a shop, offices, lockers, restrooms, training room, 4 maintenance bays, and of course some outdoor storage, which we badly need to consolidate all of our stuff that we have all over town. One of the main challenges there is going to be material supply. As you know, we're in this climate where construction materials are hard to come by, long lead items, and the primary item is the metal building itself. itself. So, that's on order, we're waiting on, shop drawings for that, in mid-October, we're expecting that. And that will trigger the foundation design and construction, and so those things take a little bit longer. In the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and do some of the other site work, the grading, go ahead and do the installation of the water line, the storm line, there's a detention pond. We can go ahead and bring utilities to the site and possibly even pave the driveway that is gonna go all the way from, County Road 34 to sort of the north end of that site, which is the photo you see there. You can see our new sand shed there in the background. So this is sort of looking more south, of that site. And so, right now, we're looking at a June 2022 completion there. Again, that's a lot of factors in terms of weather and getting those materials here on time, but excited to move that one forward. All right, next slide, please. And then I've got a couple updates here in terms of the various development projects. So, at the Highlands, you may have heard some grumblings from the neighbors this morning. There was an early morning noise complaint about 4 a.m. They were moving some equipment in and out of there, which is not acceptable. And so some calls were made to the police department relative to that. I did speak with the contractor, or rather the developer today. He assured me that would not be happening again. Service to the Highlands is being provided by Excel. Gas service is being provided by Excel. They have quite a bit of work to do on Welker, as you know, and we have a bit of Swiss cheese out there in the asphalt. I don't have a schedule yet for that repaving, but it is planned yet this season, so it should be coming soon. They're treating the subgrade in phase 1B with fly ash, which is a stabilization material to, before they pave, and which is great because, they're not wasting time trying to compact it, which they had done in previous phases, so that will speed things up. And they'll be putting in curb and gutter next week in that area and hopefully paving in mid to late October. That'd be 1B. Rangeview, the offsite sewer, had hit a little snag. I think I may have updated you on that at one point where they had a conflict with the oil and gas line. And so, we had to do a little redesign there and come up with a new alignment. So that all has been solved, but it does mean that Rangeview has to buy an easement from a neighboring property, so we're waiting for that to happen before they can proceed on that project. St. Acacia's, or Lakeside Canyon, the paving on 9.5 is complete. The removal of the power lines is underway this week. County Road 28, adjacent to that project, would be paved this fall, as well, once those power lines are out of the way. And they're actually gonna start paving on the internal roads starting next week. Red Barn, the grading's ongoing. They're actually hauling in pipe for sewer and water, so I would expect utility work to start in there very soon as well. And then finally FedEx, the lift station is operational there. We've extended their TCO while they kind of fine-tune some remaining items with that and other public improvements at the on-ramp. And we do expect our final CO to be issued at the end of October. So that's all I have for you. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions, Billy? Deb?
Erica, where is that building going for the public works on that, picture? Cause I couldn't really.
Right, so the dry lake where we normally have cleanup day, we're actually north of there.
Where all the driving spots are on that field?
Yes,
Okay.
it's been farmed for many years, and we just haven't been utilizing it for public use.
Okay.
I just wanna say, for as much traffic as there is on the, 3rd Street redesign, with all the houses and all the, neighborhoods, as somebody who lives adjacent to it and to get anywhere this way has to either go through or around, they really are doing an amazing job. And it is kind of unbelievable how much work they're doing as cars are just driving by. So pass that on, but I mean, I'm sure the houses right there might not agree completely, but it really does feel like it's moving along, and like I said, it's a dream right now to drive on, it's so smooth.
Good. Chris?
I just wanted to comment, I spoke with somebody from Coyote Run, and they said it's as good as can be expected for the amount of work that's going on, so I just wanted to pass that on also. It's good news.
Thank you. Tricia, do you have any comments or questions for Erica?
Nope.
David, do you have any questions or comments for Erica?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Erica, I do understand, we were talking, and this is concerning the power lines. We were talking about the 3rd and Walter. Those will be buried there, I get that. It sounds like that's where our funds are going to at this time. My question and concern is for the reconstruction on 3rd Street, those power lines down through there. I don't think they are in the scope of work to be buried at this time, but I want to know if that is something that we will be able to do going down that road in the future, since the sidewalk will be on the east side of the road. On the west side, will they be able to bury the power lines when we do have the funds available to get that done?
Yeah, so I don't know exactly how quickly that, account accumulates, but we're basically using any underground funds for 3 projects. The intersection project, the, public works facility, and then a small portion of what's happening on 3rd Street, which is really just a couple crossings, and we relocated a pole. It's not the full undergrounding that you're talking about, so, but as that fund is replenished, we could certainly use those monies at that location if that's the most appropriate place for it.
And Eric, I think he was asking logistically, in other words, with the project that we're doing, by not burying them, and I don't mean to speak for you, Trustee Adams, but I know we've talked about this before. One of the beauties of this experiment that we have going on out there with this full surgery is we've exposed all the underground. So actually, from my experience, if they had the money, doing undergrounding of those lines, even when we're done, since there would be no curb and gutter in most of the area on the west side, it's doable. But man, is it expensive. I mean, we have like 800,000 in that fund from United Power, and we're using like almost all of it up, just in the intersection and the public works facility. So, but yes, the answer is yes, they could still do it if they had the money. Not right now, they wouldn't schedule, it takes them at least a year to design it, but it could be done.
Okay, great. That's all I wanted to know. I just didn't want to see this brand new, beautiful road get paved down there, and then my concern was that it would be torn up or, have to get those lines buried. So I just wanted to make sure it was something that they'd be able to do off to the side and not interfere with the new pavement of the road.
All right, thank you. I have 2 questions, okay? The first one is a kind of security, not a safety thing. It is more of a safety thing, not a security thing. Around the park that we're doing at Highland Lake, everybody drives that now from time to time because that's the route. And I'm concerned when we're starting to finish off this project that people are still driving around the fence line and backing their trucks up and fishing. So could we possibly tighten that up with the fencing all the way around where we're gonna be working? Because it's every day now that people are just they're just going around the fence and going into the park, and I'm all for fishing, but it's, it's closed. It says right there, construction closed. So if we could just extend the orange fence all the way down as far as we can west, I think that would be helpful, especially with the last couple of weeks of being warm.
There were 2 trucks and 2 trailers.
Oh, it's all weekend, yeah, it's all weekend and at the evening too, so.
Yeah.
I'm all for fishing, it's just for safety concerns, I think that we need to rope that down. Oh, and my second one, do you have any updates about the traffic light that's gonna go on County Road 28 9.5 from Firestone?
I don't.
Okay. I know it's going in, but I don't know when, so.
Well, you know what, I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to reach out to Firestone anyhow about, because as you know, 9.5, the section that was just paved on behalf of Sandy Cacius is in Firestone. And 28, the section that's being paved right now is also in Firestone, but it abuts the Douthat property, which is they're coming in for a concept review this week. So I think it would be really important to get our friends in Firestone together in the same room with us, to just look at the plan of that, because if you go out there and you're driving north on the main boulevard in Barefoot, and you run into 28, you're gonna cross the street and you're gonna be in Mead. So it seems to me that it would be a good idea to have them look at the planning and say, yeah, that makes sense, and also talk about the infrastructure. Because a lot of times what happens is, we just don't have the best communication, and then one day we'll just go out there and we'll start to see the poles go up. So we'll reach out to Firestone and see if we could get some of these questions answered.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we'll move on to our proclamation. I forgot to ask a trustee. Yes. Trustee Babcock is going to read the proclamation tonight. It's National Community Planning Month for October 2021.
Community Planning Month, October 2021. Whereas change is constant and affects all cities, towns, suburbs, counties, boroughs, townships, rural areas, and other places. And whereas community planning and plans can help manage this change in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live. And whereas community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in making choices that determine the future of their community, and whereas the full benefits of planning requires public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation, and whereas the month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories, and whereas the celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of the members of planning commissions and other citizen planners who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of the town of Mead, and whereas we recognize the many valuable contributions made by professional community and regional planners of the town of Mead, and extend our heartfelt thanks for the continued commitment to public service by these professionals. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the month of October 2021 is hereby designated as Community Planning Month in Mead, Colorado, in conjunction with the celebration of National Community Planning Month, adopted this 27th day of September 2021.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion to authorize the signing of this proclamation?
I'll make a motion to sign the proclamation for Community Planning Month for the town of Mead.
Second.
Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Brothead.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams. Sorry, Mayor Pro Tem Adams, I didn't hear your response.
Yes.
Thank you. Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you, motion carries. Thank you both for reading that. Next, we'll move on to our first public comment of the evening. The board welcomes public comment for any item, whether it is on the agenda or not. The board will listen to your comments and take them into consideration. If you desire conversation, please email the board or the town manager, or attend the quarterly open forum or monthly copy with the mayor. If you're here with us virtually, please indicate by raising your hand to speak. When you're recognized, please state your name and address for the record. Again, if you wish to speak during this public comment period, please adhere to the town's general guidelines. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board of trustees, and if you are representing a group, you will have 5. Seeing no one in the audience that is here that would like to speak to us during public comment, is there anyone with us virtually tonight that would like to speak to the board? Mr. Beasley, you have the floor if you'd like to speak to us tonight.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Alright, perfect. My name is Blake Beasley and I'm a new resident. Myself, my girlfriend, and my 6-year-old son Bryce just moved in here on the 15th of September. So, this is actually my second tour here in Mead. I moved out here about a decade ago and then went back to Longmont a few years back. So I just wanted to come to this meeting. I reached out to the community development director, Jason Bradford, and asked him where the best forum would be to bring this up. But I'd like to voice a concern about the internet infrastructure within the town of Mead. Just for example, I mean, I came from Longmont and I Googled it and it was 17 minutes from my current home to my apartment. And I had a 950 megabyte connection at that with cable, and it was very stable, it was reliable, and I move out here and now I have a 50 megabyte connection that goes out if the wind is a little bit too strong. And the only other option would be CenturyLink, which is not desirable because I know I had them when I was out here, when I first took my tour out here, and their connection is not where it needs to be. So I guess for a town that's on the uprise, seeing, coming up County Road 5, I used to drive in, I work for Entrada, which is 911 data management, and now I currently work through Jabari, which is emergency management application. So I used to drive down to southwest Longmont, and there was nothing on County Road 5, and now we've got that booming neighborhood there. We're building obviously within Coyote Run, and then that new feather, I can't remember what it is, where that construction's happening. I mean, we're building, and the thing that's kind of holding just normalcy back would be that internet infrastructure, just because, I mean, I work in emergency management, so if there's a disaster, such as an avalanche or something, and one of my partners, which I have numerous hospitals here in the state of Colorado that use my applications, need assistance, I'm kind of at the mercy of the satellite internet service, because that's the fastest internet available to me at the time. So that's just my concern with the current internet infrastructure within town of Mead is about 20 years behind Longmont, Loveland, Firestone, Erie. I mean, literally I could go in a circle of about 30-minute drive where I can get incredibly different internet experience than the town of Mead. And so that's my soapbox pitch of, I hope that I saw the development slides and I was hoping that I would just be surprised to see something, that there was something in the works, but it's just concerning that in the year of 2021, where we've had 2 years of pandemic, where a lot of people have been able to work from home, myself included. I worked my entire job, my headquarters is Atlanta, Georgia, to be at the mercy of a snowstorm in the state of Colorado knocking my internet out is kind of concerning.
Mr. Beasley, we all share
So I guess
the same, we share your frustration. and welcome to.
And I guess it just goes down to just the quality of life, because I hadn't ever even thought about the internet. I grew up, I was born in Westminster, I lived in Longmont 5, I grew up there, I went to CU Boulder, got my business management degree at CU Boulder, I moved back to Longmont, and then I moved to Mead. So I love this area, I love what it has to offer. Just the fact that honestly I just felt like I jumped back to high school in terms of my internet, just by moving 20 miles, or 20 minutes, is concerning. And I feel like something, I know I talked to my neighbor who said that Xfinity at one point was trying to come in here, and then there was kind of a mix-up with trying to get the internet all the way to central Mead, but I'm not sure how much of that was just kind of hearsay. But that's my concern, and I'm not sure where to take that concern, because I know for a fact if I did a petition in at least Coyote Run and Bargill Farm, that I could get almost every single person that uses the internet to sign it to get better internet service out here. So I'm not sure what to do at that point, where we can go from that. So I guess I turn to the board for assistance in that realm.
Okay, so first of all, welcome to Mead, and it's a great town. I've been here for 20 years and multiple people. And for the record, what is your address so we can make sure that we have it?
It is 3671 Homestead Drive.
All right, thank you. I'm going to turn the microphone over to our town manager. She has been leading the effort on this subject for us, and she can give you an update of what we've been trying to do for a period of time, and so I'm gonna turn this over to her, and then if you have any extra questions or anything, we'll address them at that time. Helen?
Thank you. Thank you for your, audience participation. It's nice to hear somebody coming with and I think it's constructive criticism. I think your having come from Longmont really positioned you in a way that many of us haven't experienced, where Longmont has a municipal broadband system that was the first in the state. It's almost 20 years old now. They have about a 50% take rate, which is the best in the state. So they do a fantastic job, and then you have other providers. So the Board of Trustees asked me to be a part of a consortium of 4 towns. So there's Milliken, Berthoud, Johnstown, and Mead. And we decided to get together because we all have the same problem. We all have insufficient internet. So we've gotten together and we've been meeting bi-weekly for the last 4 months, working with a consultant to come up with, we're basically looking at 2 options. One is all together as the 4 communities, and the other is each community on its own. And we are just about to have a presentation, actually on the 19th of October in the city of Johnstown. Our consultants are gonna lead the discussion. We've looked at a lot of things, not the least of which being glomming onto the city of Loveland's internet system, Pulse, that they just started in the last 18 months. They're interested. I asked the consultants to reach out to Longmont to see if it would even be a possibility, since their system is fully developed. Are they ready to start moving out of their town boundaries, city boundaries? So we are moving forward. If you're aware of what's going on a national level, the town of Mead just got $1.2 million. One way we could spend it is on broadband, but the initial estimates say that we need like 6 to 10 million to run the basic infrastructure, and then we need an internet provider. So there'll be more to follow on this. Please pay attention to what's going on. I think we'll see something that comes out on the 19th, maybe some recommendations. But as you know, this isn't something we can just sit on for years and talk about. By the time we implement it, the technology's changing so fast. But the town is on the path to getting better internet, but at the moment, TDS is basically the main internet provider here, and what we're trying to do is come up with some better options. I hope that makes you feel a little better, but it certainly won't be in the near future, I mean in the next 12 months. But we may start on something, and once we get going, it'll move very quickly.
Mr. Beasley, do you have any follow-up questions for our town manager?
No, I think that, at least knowing that there is a plan in the works and that there is, consortium that's being put together is promising. Coming from having cable internet, I'd say that would be preferred, but obviously anything that's a step in the right direction is going to be a nice thing. So, like I said, happy to hear that there is something at least in the works and that we're trying to band together. Because, Milliken, Johnstown, Mead, and Berthoud, those are the areas I looked at because I like the areas. But yeah, that was the one thing that I always was up against with internet service. But so thank you for addressing that, and thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Anytime that you want to come back and talk to us, you're welcome. And you can, keep emailing the staff, and they'll give you updates as much as we can.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a good
Have a
night.
great night.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Is there anyone else here or out in virtual land that would like to talk to us? I don't see anybody out there. Okay, all right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items which are considered routine and enacted in one motion and vote. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda as is. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams,
Yes.
Trustee Babcock,
Yes.
Trustee Broadhead,
Yes.
Trustee Harris,
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to our new business, resolution number 53-R-2021. This will be introduced by our Deputy Town Engineer, Robert Brown. You have the floor, ma'am.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. So this is a contract with National Power Lighting Corporation. It is a project it's an annual maintenance project on our sanitary sewer system to clean and flush and inspect the system to make sure that it's free of any sort of defects and it's clean for the foreseeable future. This portion of the project is to do a third of the sewer system, and then we will continue with a third for each following year. So our guidelines from CERSA are that we need to complete the whole cleaning and inspection of the whole system over 3 years. So we'll start doing a third every year. The contract contract was bid out. We had 4 responses. This was by far the lowest bid. We reviewed and evaluated the bids internally and also sent the bids out to our on-call engineer JVA for their evaluation. And they agreed that they thought that the project should be awarded to National Power Routing. Their National Power Routing's contract is a little bit higher, or their bid was a little bit higher than the amount of funding that we have, which is $40,000. So we propose to proceed with National Power Routing, but use their unit rates up to a not to exceed amount of $40,000. We had some very good responses from a couple of people that I reached out to as far as references from National Power Routing, so they all had really good things to say about them as well. And they're really chomping at the bit. They think that they could complete the project within the next 1 to 2 months. The contract would go to the end of 2021. I think that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions?
Questions, comments for Rob? Chris?
When we talk about a third, is the 40,000 going to get us a third, or are we gonna have to budget more next year to get the next third done?
So the 40,000 is close to a third. So National Power Routing bid on a third, and their bid was 46,000. So at 40,000, we're very close to a third. Of course, next year I'm sure prices will be a little bit higher, so we'll probably need a little bit more to get the next third. But we should be pretty close to a third this year.
I'm just questioning, would it be better for us to budget the extra $6,300 or whatever it is to get that done this year, so that we keep up with CERSA and don't get behind by a little bit, knowing that we have to do a third every year?
I think we can easily catch up next year. I think that's it's not going to be a whole lot of linear.
Okay, that's all. Okay, questions here? Okay. Tricia, do you have any questions for Robin?
No.
All right, thank you very much for your time. Is there a motion regarding resolution number 53-R-2021 for culvert cleaning?
I move to approve resolution 53-R-2021, a resolution of the town of Mead, Colorado, approving an amendment for professional services between the town of Mead and National Power Routing Corporation concerning sanitary sewer and culvert cleaning and inspection services for an amount not to exceed $40,000.
And I'll second if we adjust amendment to agreement.
Good to hear that.
You said an amendment and it's an agreement.
Yes, let's change that,
Okay.
sorry.
No worries.
We didn't even catch that. Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Broadhead.
Yes.
Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. We'll move on to resolution number 54-R-2021. Chief Newbanks, did you want to introduce that, or will Sergeant Ellis be doing this?
Mayor, this is Chief Newbanks. I'll be introducing this
All right, you have the floor, sir.
resolution to approve the contract for the SRO program for the Mead Police Department for the coming year. As you know, we have 2 school resource officers as part of the Mead Police Department that are dedicated to the schools here in Mead. We have 3 full-size district schools here. The high school with over 1,100 students. The elementary school and middle schools are also full-size schools. And so the populations of those students is obviously higher than just respected to those that live in Mead. So for us, it's very important that we have a presence there and are able to interact and be efficient with the staff in providing a safe and secure learning environment for our students. And this contract facilitates that. Over the last couple of years, the school district has worked to make these contracts the same for every jurisdiction. And so what you're looking at is a standard contract. And the only difference you might see is other jurisdictions that have more or less school resource officers than what we have. It is typical for jurisdictions to have 2 school resource officers at a high school the size of Mead High School, and also a school resource officer at a middle school the size of our middle school. So currently we have 2 of those school resource officers, one which this contract pays for at a portion of the officer's salary over 9 months. And then the second officer is paid at 100% over 12 months. And so those 2 officers are assigned to the high school, and then with collateral duties at the elementary and middle schools, and spend a fair amount of time there. Certainly we have similar issues at those schools that we have at the high school, and we certainly want to develop relationships with our students. And so we find it very important that they're spending time at those other schools as well as the high school. But for us, as a department, patrol-wise, very difficult if our patrol officer gets tied up working a case or responding to issues at the high school. So having those officers there to handle those issues as they come up, and hopefully preventing as many issues from coming up is very important for us as far as it goes when it comes to staffing. So that's certainly a bonus for us. So this school district contract reflects the accurate salaries of the 2 officers that are assigned to those positions. So those numbers are taken, are provided by us, and that's where they come up with the 1 officer paid for at the percentage over 9 months, and the other officer paid at 100% over 12 months. The total amount that the town receives for this contract is a little over $138,000. And the 2 officers that are currently assigned to those positions are Officer Janae Coleman, who has been with the department since August of 2019, and Officer Howard Prince, who's been with the department since July of 2020. I can tell you that the school district is very excited to have officers back year after year and see that consistency and those relationships continue to build year after year. And so we're very happy to have those officers on board and continue in this cause. And both of them have received advanced training over the summer and are fully committed to continuing filling those positions. So we're very appreciative of them and the job that they do. I receive numerous compliments routinely about the work that they do, and feel like we've really come a long way in the last 2 years to further our relationship with not only the school district, but the faculty and student bodies there. So I feel like this is a very worthwhile program, and appreciate the board's support tonight. Can I answer any questions?
Questions or comments? Tricia, do you have any questions or comments for Chief?
Nope.
Thank you. Is there a motion regarding resolution number 54-4 August 2021 for the SRO contract.
I'll move to approve resolution 54-R-2021. Resolution of the Town of Mead, Colorado approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Town of Mead and St. Vrain Valley School District RE1J for a joint school resource officer program.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? Roll call, please, Marty.
Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Trustee Brothead.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor and board members.
We'll move on to our second public comment of the evening. This is the second public comment period. Again, please raise your hand if you'd like to speak. When you're recognized, state your name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, and I'd like to remind those members in the public in attendance here at Town Hall and virtually that I reviewed the general comments for the public comment and open meetings at the start of tonight's meeting. I don't see anyone that has joined us. All right, we'll move on to elected official reports. Any of the town trustees would like to bring anything up tonight? Tricia, did you have anything for this portion of the agenda during, underneath the town trustees?
No, not tonight.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything, but I welcome everyone to the Coffee with the Mayor this Saturday from 8 to 11. Okay.
8 to 10.
What did I say?
11.
Oh, I extended it, sorry. I'm going to lunch. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Mayor,
Nope, sorry.
could we just, finish up that budget discussion?
Sure, we'll do that in a, and I'm just gonna read that just a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought, I
Oh,
didn't.
no, you're not leaving yet.
Yeah, I thought maybe you were ending the meeting without our doing, budget discussion. We just need direction on the intersection. that's all.
Sure. So everybody stay, we're not leaving yet. The meeting, the regular meeting will hopefully be adjourned here in just a second. Anybody motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Trustee Brothead.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes, September 22nd, 2021 regular meeting of the Board of Trustees now adjourned at 7:03. We will continue our discussion at the work session from the